get us going.
Rachael Kelly, back for another year with Bohemians. A lot of change off the field, but you have a core group of players back again. Are you looking forward to getting going?
Yeah, cannot wait. Like I said, days like this makes you realise that Lee's not too far away, and we've had a good pre-season so far, so we can't wait to get going.
Change of managers, it's happened for a couple of years in a row. Does that disrupt the players or disrupt the flow of things?
I think the thing this year that's probably been different is that Al's been around the place. It's been a really, really smooth transition, and probably couldn't have asked for a smoother one, to be honest. It's just basically he's just stepped up to it, and that's been it. So it's been brilliant so far.
As one of the senior players, when that sort of comes out, your manager stepped down. You're seeing Ken obviously left to go to join Kieran Clough in Dundalk. What are you thinking in that situation? Are you hoping in that situation that maybe Alan would have done what he's done and taken that step? Because the last thing you want is to have a complete change of management so close to a season.
Yeah, like you said, there's the initial kind of shock of it. Make sure that everyone's just kind of eased down, let the noise kind of cancel itself out, and we're absolutely delighted. We wanted straight away when the news came out. We were hoping that Al was making the step up. Like you said, he knows how we work, we know how he works, he knows how to get the best out of us, which is the main thing, so we're delighted it's Al.
You've had a couple of months to reflect. How do you reflect on last year?
Yeah, look, it's when you take a step back and you realise it was a really successful cup campaigns, but I think from everyone it's now getting consistency in the league. I think that let us down a good bit last year to make sure that it's a full year, and I think, like I said, it's great that we got the 2 cup finals, but we fell at the last hurdle, so it's to get over that now and bring back some joy.
I asked Alan this question, and I'll ask you the question. Is it important that the likes of yourself, the senior players in the team, that you help to drive them standards to make sure you have that consistency going forward?
Yeah, I think standards are best driven within. When like that, the lads will absolutely drive them, but it's to make sure it's done within the dressing room too. And the younger players, a couple of them, it's going to be their first time up at senior level, so to ensure that they know it is a big jump, but like you said, once it's driven within, it makes it that bit easier.
How do you rally the group to make sure that they get behind Alan and they give Alan that commitment that they've given in recent years?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Alan's made that case for himself, because the minute he was appointed, everyone was ready to go. You didn't have to kind of sell him or anything like that. The minute the announcement was made, sure, the girls were buzzing, ready to go, and I think you'll see it as well this year that the work rate is going to be really, really high, and the girls will do anything, so.
How do you find that consistency? How do you take that next step next year, the next season? How do you find that?
Yeah, I think, it's certainly, there's a lot of work going in pre-season. It's a lot of probably repetitive stuff to make sure that you're nailing the basics, to be honest with you. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be probably, it might kill your brain sometimes, but it's necessary, because unless you're consistent, you're not going to get any further.
Talk to me a little bit about that Virgin Media announcement yesterday. You've had a big sponsorship previously with Dublin Bus, now Virgin Media coming on board. Big sponsors back in women's football. That must be, you must be pleasing. Yeah,
like you said, we've had Dublin Bus, who are brilliant to us, and now with the switch to Virgin Media, who have done so much for Irish football anyways before this, so it's really, really good to have them. And like you said, it's big names back in the women's game, which is so important, because the younger girls coming up need to be able to see the future that's within the League of Ireland.
If you look at this year, last year in Dalymount, what would it mean to win a trophy for Bohs this year?
I probably couldn't put into words, because everyone knows how special Dalymount is. The character, the history. To bring a trophy home on its last year before the revamp would be probably what dreams are made of, to be honest. So look, that's certainly what we want to do. Dalymount deserves a proper send-off, and we're hoping to give it that.
You're not somebody who, it's fair to say, would be constantly shouting on the pitch, constantly roaring at players up the field as a leader. How would you describe your leadership style?
The girls might disagree with you. They always tell me they can hear me before they can see me. But yeah, I think it's probably a lot of off-pitch stuff as well that's not seen. It's making sure that the younger players are well gelled in. They're okay if anyone has kind of any issues and stuff. So it's probably a different kind of leadership style, and it's probably done more so in the background and making sure, like I said, it's about driving standards and ensuring everyone's on the same path and stuff like that. But I think the girls will disagree. They certainly hear me.
If I was to ask you, what would you say has been your biggest moment in a Bohs jersey, or your best moment in a Bohs jersey?
Best moment in a Bohs jersey is certainly the Palestine game. But apart from that, it's leading the girls out to the cup final back in October. I know we didn't get over the line, but that feeling of leading the girls out is really, really special.
Last question. If you could go back to the Rachael who was playing with Shelbourne and the Rachael who went to Sweden, what advice would you give to yourself as a younger player coming into this league?
That's a really good question. I think it's great to probably see different parts of how football are done and come back with that experience, but it's probably just be ready for the roller coaster. That's what it's going to be, certainly a roller coaster.
Thank you very much, Rachael.
Thanks, Aaron.